Hi guys, and welcome to another video from Overbite Gaming. Illness update first off. I'm feeling a whole bunch better. I do have a slightly persistent tickly cough thing going on though, so I'm doing this in the middle of the day, actually on my lunch break, because I seem to cough more in the morning and the afternoon and sort of thing, so hopefully I won't have to cut too much out of this because of me coughing. But today we're taking a look at Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. It's a very ambivalent one for me. I've been following this game since it was being developed, I think under Hardsuit Labs was the previous developer before it was cancelled there and moved to the Chinese room. My sugar daddy Bungle actually pre-ordered me that version, which was then cancelled when the game was cancelled. So I now have it again, yay, and have been playing it. It came out on a Tuesday, which was particularly annoying for me, so luckily my wife has caught my cold, so she's sort of like quarantining herself, so I don't have to worry about spending time with her, so I can play this. So mixed result, but yeah, I got to play this for as long as I needed, so so we're off. So in this you play a newly untorpid vampire called Fire, which, yeah, bit of an eye roll. P-H-Y-R-E, Fire. Yeah, it's kind of a crap name, I agree. I didn't really go on that. And you're a vampire ancient, and you wake up, and it's been 100 years, and you're in current day. Now, for me, current day is a bit of an odd one. For me, Vampire has always been like a 90s kind of franchise. It just has the 90s feel to it. It just seems to sit there a lot better than it does in current day. It's not too bad. I've seen people, reviewers and stuff that and commenters that I generally am on side with, calling this really woke. It's not as bad as all that. There's no pronoun selection or anything like that. There are gay characters in it. You have a flamboyantly gay Nosferatu. I guess he has to be flamboyant because he looks like a chewed piece of gum, but yeah. So I don't really get too much of a hum of wokeness from it. There's bits and pieces, but compared to other stuff that's been out, it's no big deal for me. So a lot of people are going to be comparing this to obviously Bloodlines the first, which is a fantastic game, even though it's shit broken and you couldn't actually finish the game without a console cheat to skip you to the next level. So that was good. And that was after it had been sitting like on the shelf for months waiting for Half-Life to come out, because it was using I think it was the Source 2 engine that Half-Life 2 was like debuting. So because of that, they couldn't release until after Half-Life 2 came out. That was delayed because of the leak, and that was sat on the shelf for that time. And instead of like actually making it finishable, they just sort of left it there. But it did receive a multitude of fan patches, which sorted that out and added more to the game. Certainly, it's very playable nowadays, and it's a fantastic game overall, and I really like it. Coming into this, I think the biggest problem with this is the name Bloodlines, because it's not Bloodlines. Don't expect like a continuation or even anything too similar mechanically from the first game to spill into this one, because it's very, very different. Looks like no one's home. Having said that, I did enjoy my time with it though. I am, as I say, I am a self-confessed fan of the World of Darkness. I have the World of Darkness, I have Vampire Requiem, I have Werewolf Thingamajigger, I have Mage, I think that one's The Awakening, I have an old version of Hunter, I have a bunch of the RPG source books. I've played virtually every Vampire the Masquerade game that's been released, from the graphic novels to from Redemption, Bloodlines, everything I can get my hands on. I play. So for me, it's an easier sell than it may be just someone coming in that's not such a big fan, and I can see why. It does a good job of the sort of vampire power fantasy, at least at lower difficulty levels. Higher difficulty levels, it becomes a lot more challenging. Obviously, that's kind of the point. Huh. So combat is first person. You will have your sort of basic attacks. You have dodges. You can do kicks when you combine dodges, and it does actually flow pretty well. You can even attack from the ground and sort of nip up and do a kick and stuff like that. It's actually pretty well done. The bad guy's AI isn't great, which makes the combat quite easy. And of course you get your vampire powers now. You do have a selection of, I believe it's 5, I want to say, 5 clans. This footage you're seeing, and my personal preference is always Toreador. I always play a Toreador because I'm kind of like playing against type, because I'm an ugly potato, right? So being a charming, suave, sexy vampire, it kind of appeals to me. One that can talk the knickers off of women, sort of thing. So, so I always go Toreador, and of course, like, you know, they can still back it up because they're still Kindred. I actually watched the Kindred TV show, so there you go. There's my dedication for you. I've seen it all. Some of it was good, some of it wasn't so good, but I did see it. So there you are. And you get your vampire sort of abilities that are. You start off with the ones available in your own clan. They're super easy to get, super quick to get. Each time you unlock a power, you unlock an outfit as well. So that's quite nice. You can't mix and match bits and pieces. It's just like one outfit, but you do get a fair few of them. So, for instance, the Toreador ones, you will have stuff like you can kiss one of your opponents and he will fight on your side because he's been bamboozled by your kiss. Very Superman-esque. You can increase your reflexes so you can dodge more easily. Things like that. Other clans such as Ventru. Oh god, I can't remember the name. The blood magic guy is Tremere, of course. The Tremere, they have Blood Curse, which is actually the first skill I actually got from another clan. And you can basically cast it on them, and when they get hit next, they blow up, which is nice. I enjoy that. But the bigger the enemy, the longer it takes to sort of curse them. So you just stood there wiggling your fingers until it finally goes off. So you got to do it quite, you know, doing it inside of combat, not recommended. And the way you get those is there are 3 different types of blood that you can pick up. You also get it as quest rewards, and you can spend that with your various contacts around to unlock other clans' powers. And then you have to spend skill points that you're earning as you're leveling up on those powers. They're generally more expensive as well. So like the first Toreador one I took, I think it cost 1 point. The first Tremere, Christ, why can't I keep that name in my head? The first Tremere one I bought cost me 10 points. So they are a lot more expensive, and you need to unlock them. So it makes a whole lot more sense to try and get the clan that has like the abilities that you want off the bat, because then you'll get access to those abilities pretty quickly. You'll max it out pretty quick as well. But that is basically all there is in terms of character progression. And there's no stats or anything like that. The RPG elements are disappointingly light in it, I'm afraid. Movement is, again, done in first person. The only time you come out of first person is in cutscenes and conversations. And the movement isn't bad. When it works properly, it's amazing. In fact, you'll be like flying up the sides of buildings, gliding across them, jumping huge distances, running at like fucking mental speeds. But like, I'm playing it on keyboard and mouse because it's first person. I kind of feel like I have to. Although you can play it on joypad, and maybe it would be a better experience there. But like, to do like full distance glides, you need to hit like 4 buttons with the same hand, and it's just kind of like, that's a bit extreme, I feel. So I don't know. So it's easy to fuck up and just plummet to the ground. Also, you have to be aware of the Masquerade. If you're not familiar with the World of Darkness, then the Masquerade is basically the vampires pretending to be people, and anything you do that is like superhuman or supernatural, anything like that that people see, will break the Masquerade and basically clue them into the existence of vampires, which you don't want because they will probably wipe you out then with guns and bullets and tanks and shit. So they don't want the Masquerade broken, and there are 3 levels. You've got like green, which is fine, you just can keep wandering around. It's like, oh, whoopsie, oh well. orange, where people will react to you, and then red, where you will be actively hunted. And if you top off the red bar, you're just instantly staked by an unseen vampire that's basically come to sort your nonsense out. So don't max that out. The story itself isn't bad. There's a lot of twists and turns. There's a lot of interesting characters in it. I've heard some people say that the voice acting's terrible. I don't think it. I've definitely heard worse. Some are okay. Some are pretty good. You have actually a voice in your head. It's another vampire called. Shit. and look at Fabian. There we go. God, my brain. What's wrong with it today? Right, it's lunchtime. It should be eating ramen. But I'm not yet because I'm doing this. So you have a vampire called Fabian in your head. And neither of you knows how he got there. You can't control your body, but you can talk to him and you can help out and observe things that maybe you have missed. And the way they do the sort of talks is that it's like this red tinged view of the side of your head, and you can see sort of Fabian's head sort of poking out behind you. It's quite stylized and quite well done. My biggest gripe with it though is that when you go to bed, you'll basically explore Fabian's memories. Now Fabian, this game has been accused of being a walking simulator, and this is where it comes closest to that. You can't attack, you can't jump, you have a few vampiric powers, because he is a Malkavian. That one came easy. We were like the mental ones normally, but they don't seem to be as mental in this. It's more like... I don't know whether it's because of like the difference in the way we regard mental health nowadays, that they're not just lunatics anymore. It might be, in which case, bleh. But yeah, it's more like he can talk to objects. He can basically use vampiric power to talk to objects, and they won't tell him anything he doesn't know. And he can talk to corpses, but again, it's basically just him in his own mind, just talking to a representation of that person. It's not like you're sort of literally bringing them back from beyond the veil and asking them questions. It's like things that he already knows but hasn't put together, or maybe he's tangentially aware of. So I find that interesting. But I mean, it's all conversations and his sections basically. It's just working out which discipline to use on which object, and which correct dialogue choices you have to take. So it's not particularly exciting, and every time it goes back there, I'm like, well, I'm interested in how this is tying into the current story, because obviously you're back in the past with Fabian. So it does. There's this sort of 3 time periods, 2 of which is Fabian's and 1 is current with fire, and it's interesting and it weaves together, but the gameplay itself is just walking around. You do have like one of his vampiric powers is fast forward, so basically you can run at stupid speed, but it's not like running, it's just his perception of time is faster, so you just get to places quicker, because they know that you don't want to walk 500 meters, have a conversation, and walk another 500 meters, which is what you'll end up doing. So yeah, those parts are less interesting to me, certainly less exciting. As I said, the combat with fire does make you feel like a bit of a badass. You will hit like regular people and they will just go flying. I love that. Even ghouls, who make up the bulk of who you're fighting, you don't fight too many sort of actual kindred. It's always the ghouls that you will fight, unless it's bosses or significant fights. Kindred are vampires, if you don't know, and ghouls are mortals that have been fed vampiric blood and have gained just a veneer of vampiric power, but need to keep drinking vampire blood, and are basically slaves to whoever is feeding them that blood. So that's a ghoul. Excuse me. I'm not going to cut that because it wasn't really a cough, it was more like a the graphics aren't bad. Atmospherics are really well done. I mean, when you look up and you see the snow coming down in the snowy Seattle setting, it's very nice. All the lighting is very nice. There is no motion blur toggle though. It's on all the time unless you want to go into the info file and fuck around with it. There are mods coming out. I've seen some for outfits and general sort of graphical overhauls and performance options. On mine, I've got everything on top whack. I've got DLSS on, but at quality. It's getting me above 60, I would say probably 90% of the time. So that's okay. I would expect, I mean, although the atmospheres are good, the textures themselves aren't the best I've seen. It's like they're good enough, but they aren't great. But so I would expect for it to run better. But as I say, it's running fine for me, so I can't really complain about that. It doesn't do. I found that the tutorials that are in it aren't great, or maybe I just didn't do them correctly, because I had like periods in the early game where I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. You know, obviously I'm supposed to do something with this, but I don't know what. And that time it turned out I had to use telekinesis, which Fire has, and is a lot of fun. You hold down Q and you can break stuff or pick up guns and fire the guns telekinetically, and because you don't use any weapons other than your fist and your vampiric powers, but you can pick shit up and lob it at people, or as I say, shoot guns with telekinesis. You never actually touch them, they just float by you and you just go pop, 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 pop. And basically as soon as you've sort of shot it, it fires off the entire mag and then you drop it, or you throw it, I suppose. But it's quite nice beaning someone in the head with a baseball bat from like 30 meters away, running in, giving one a kiss, having him fight for you, and then draining him dry afterwards. I'm okay with this. This is all like part of the vampire power fantasy, and it's quite fluid and quite smooth. 90% of the time, there's times where it feels a little bit sort of like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. But generally speaking, I mean, there's like instances where you'll have a crowd of them, and you'll be clicking frantically as you punch all these fuckers in the face, and then you'll be like, I don't remember killing him. But like it gets a bit frantic. I think I would have preferred like a third-person view. Like, I mean, you could toggle between them in the first game, but in this you're restricted to that first person, and sometimes because you don't have such a wide view of the area as you would in third person, it gets a little bit confusing in the first person, because sometimes there's a lot of enemies coming at you and you're trying to like, oh, I want to take out the big guy with the sledgehammer or the big guy with the shotgun or something like that, you know, more high value targets, and you're just punching little dudes in the face instead. But
why are you here?
But as I said, like 90% of the time it does make you feel like a badass, and it is quite smooth. As I say, you might get knocked to the floor, but then, you know, kip up with a kick and then punch another guy, and then, you know, it just rolls really nicely when it can do that. It's, as I say, there's instances where it's a little bit but most of the time I felt it was a good fun experience. By the time the game completes, you are kind of over it, because your basic melee combination never really changes. All of your fighting abilities basically are the same regardless of what class. Obviously your vampiric abilities will be different that you can use, but they're like special moves really, where the base combat is your fist, and you sort of, instead of punching, you just kind of poke at them with your two fingers, which I'm not gonna lie, I kind of feel like it'd be different for vampires than like having a fucking ball up a fist and chonk someone with it. But yeah, they use elbows and shit like that as well, so there's a decent amount of variety, but it's all the same combo all the time. So by the good time the game ends, you're kind of like, yeah, you know, it's fun, but it's the same all the time. Maybe if they introduce different fighting disciplines, I mean, if you're gonna have a first-person melee system, you need to put more into it than that, let's just say. So I don't know. As I say, I am probably going to be more positive on this than most people. I enjoyed my time with it. I thought it did a good job at the Vampire Power Fantasy. I didn't find it too woke. I didn't find the voice acting subpar and most of the casting. In fact, I thought some of it was rather good. There is ample... I mean, I think probably what didn't help was the fact that, like, the female player character you can pick, you can choose between male and female. She doesn't look very feminine. But there are plenty of vampire women in the game who very much do look feminine, so I don't really have a problem with that. I'm playing a guy anyway, with long luscious hair. Like I say, I like to play against type because I'm a bold potato. So, I mean, if you're going in it expecting Vampire Bloodlines 2, it's not that. It really, really isn't that. It's not as well written. It doesn't have any semblance of the same gameplay, even like an evolved version or anything like that. It just, I mean, that's what everybody would have wanted. If this is, I mean, I like this way better than I did Swan Song, for instance. I did not like Swan Song. This I like way better than that. But I like Bloodlines 1 way more than this as well. I mean, I don't think naming it Bloodlines has helped it. If it was just like Vampire Fire or Vampire Elder or Vampire Seattle, something like that, you know, it would have less of this huge expectation that everybody would put on it, because Vampire Bloodlines is a very well regarded game, and rightly so. And when you release a sequel, they're looking for something just as good that's been evolved and made even better, and this is not that. This is not near that in terms of quality, gameplay, or style even. As I say, I feel like the 90s setting is where Vampire Masquerade really sings to me, whereas this is current day, and yeah, current day is what it is, fellas, just saying. So that's my review of Vampire Bloodlines 2. I think if you like World of Darkness, it's probably worth a purchase. I'm not sure I'd go in at full price for it if I were you. Obviously I did, so I could review it, and because I have no self-control. If you're not a fan of Vampire, you're probably going to come in and think this is mid at best. I think the whole Vampire setting really helps it elevate it a bit above the medium. For me, certainly, like, just getting to live in the world of the Kindred again is just nice, even if it is a slightly watered down version of it than what I would expect in the 90s. But yeah, I enjoyed it. You know, as I say, think about it before you buy it. If anything that I've said here that in the negatives makes you twist your lip up and sneer, probably don't get it. And, you know, that's fine. I mean, I completely understand. It's not the Bloodlines 2 I was looking for either. But outside of disappointment of it not being Bloodlines 2, I am at least happy to get a fairly decent Vampire the Masquerade game. So, there's that. Anyway, guys, that's it for me. I haven't coughed once, so I'm doing well. So I'm probably going to cough my guts up as soon as I turn this off. So yay me, and I'll catch you next time.